October 10th, 2016, Monday of the 28th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Galatians. Brothers and sisters, it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, one by the slave woman and the other by the freeborn woman. The son of the slave woman was born naturally, the son of the freeborn through a promise. Now this is an allegory. These women represent 2 covenants. One was from Mount Sinai, bearing children for slavery. This is Hagar. But the Jerusalem above is freeborn, and she is our mother. For it is written, "Rejoice, you barren one, who bore no children. Break forth and shout, you who are not in labor. For more numerous are the children of the deserted one than of her who has a husband." Therefore, brothers and sisters, we are children not of the slave woman, but of the freeborn woman. For freedom, Christ set us free. So stand firm and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm, the response is, "Blessed be the name of the Lord forever." Praise, you servants of the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord, both now and forever. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever. From the rising to the setting of the sun is the name of the Lord to be praised. High above all nations is the Lord. Above the heavens is his glory. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever. Who is like the Lord our God, who looks upon the heavens and the earth below? He raises up the lowly from the dust. From the dunghill he lifts up the poor. Blessed be the name of the Lord forever.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While still more people gathered in the crowd, Jesus said to them, "This generation is an evil generation. It seeks a sign, but no sign will be given it, except the sign of Jonah. Just as Jonah became a sign to the Ninevites, so will the Son of Man be to this generation. At the judgment, the Queen of the South will rise with the men of this generation, and she will condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and there is something greater than Solomon here. At the judgment, the men of Nineveh will arise with this generation and condemn it, because at the preaching of Jonah they repented, and there is something greater than Jonah here." The Gospel of the Lord.
October 10th, Monday of the 28th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from the letter to the Galatians, chapter 4, verses 22 to 24, 26 to 27, and 31 to 5:1. Paul returns to his Midrash. Midrash, remember, is a Jewish way of interpreting the law. And he uses the example of Abraham, who had 2 wives, one was a slave woman, one was a free, and had children with each. Well, Hagar, the slave woman, brought forth a child who was destined to be a slave, whereas the free woman brought forth a free child. This is an example of those who live under the law, they're slaves. Those who live in the law of Christ, they're free. Jesus has called us to freedom. If these Gentile Christians in Galatia follow the Jewish law, then they're making themselves slaves again. That's why Paul says, don't submit yourself again to the yoke of slavery. They were called to freedom. Now later on in the letter, he has to express what freedom means. It's not libertarianism. Rather, it's freedom in love. The Gospel is from Luke 11, 29 to 32. Jesus speaks about the fact that no sign will be given this generation except the sign of Jonah. Now the sign of Jonah could be one of 2 things. It could be the fact that Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and then spit out on the ground. just as Jesus would be in the belly of the earth for 3 days before he rises from the dead. But much more probable, the sign of Jonah has to do with the Ninevites. In fact, Jesus uses that phrase, the Ninevites. What is that? That Jonah went to a pagan city, a city very strongly opposed to Israel. Yet he had only gone a third of the way through the city, and the people were already converting. If pagans are willing to listen to the voice of a prophet of Israel, then shouldn't the people of Israel listen as well? And in fact, he gives a couple signs that the Queen of Sheba came from the south to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And if she came all the way from the south, shouldn't the people of Israel listen to him because he's far greater than Solomon? The people of Nineveh will arise and condemn this generation. They're the other example of pagans who listen to God's word. Therefore, Jesus is saying to his listeners, if you call yourself the chosen people, then you have to follow the Messiah whom God has sent to the chosen people himself. And may God bless us.